What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have this Nubia Z40 Pro and Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Yeah, here goes confirmation. I have the smartphones, but there are people with wild imagination. They make comments like, are you showing the real smartphones? Oh no. Here is confirmation. These are real smartphones. I always have real smartphones. Okay. Yeah, I always provide my regular viewers and subscribers with true content, and I always try to be honest with my subscribers and regular viewers. If you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button. Yeah, like button is over there. Click on the like button and subscribe to this channel. On YouTube, subscription is totally free. You don't have to spend a penny. Okay, before we start the video, a few moments for the sponsor of this video, Pitaka protective cases. Yeah, I have been using these for almost 3 years from Samsung Galaxy S20 series. I'm not just making a story that I have been using Pitaka protective cases for a long time. From Samsung Galaxy S20 series to S21 and now with my S22. Yeah, I always use Pitaka protective cases on all of my Samsung and iPhone smartphones. If you're looking for the best, then Pitaka is the one that you should check. What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and Nubia Z40 Pro. What happened to Nubia Z40 Pro? It's a bit overexposed. Anyway, check carefully which smartphone has rendered my skin tone correctly, which smartphone has rendered colors. Okay, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has rendered colors almost perfectly well. I'm recording this selfie video on Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra in 4K, and Nubia Z40 Pro doesn't got that option, so it's in 1080p. I don't know when will these Chinese brands start offering 4K in selfie camera. I don't know. I really want a 4K in selfie camera. The differences are truly visible. Like there is a huge difference between these two smartphone selfie camera performance. Anyway, listen carefully which smartphone microphone has performed better. I think there is no competition. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra selfie camera is the best at this moment. But I know we have to check stabilization. Let's check stabilization, right? Let me run. Some people will look at me. Okay, let's check stabilization. 1, 2, 3. Well, I wish these brands will send me review units, and if you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and please subscribe to this channel. These are ultra wide photos. As per specifications, Z40 Pro should have won without any issue cause it got a 50 megapixel sensor for ultra wide photos. But other than a bit of saturation and stylistic rendition of colors, S22 Ultra is ahead of Z40 Pro. Nubia Z40 Pro has some sort of color cast. This reminds me of OnePlus Magenta cast. Also, dynamic range on Z40 Pro is way worse than what is expected from a flagship smartphone. Usually Nubia Z40 Pro goes for a flat color rendition while S22 Ultra chooses to overprocess sky color, which makes it eye-pleasing but also gives it an artificial flavor. However, S22 Ultra has natural white balance and a good balance between brightness and contrast. In terms of detail and textures, once again, it's close. Z40 Pro has done well, but it's almost an impossible task for Z40 Pro to compete with Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. S22 Ultra camera algorithm is well optimized and gets better with every update. Regular photography is the most important thing for almost all the average users. Both of these two smartphones have Pro mode, and Nubia Z40 Pro offers a bit more than others in its Pro mode. However, most of the general users only uses the Auto mode. So at the beginning, let me tell you that I have taken all these images in Auto mode with Auto HDR on, AI and scene detection was disabled. 108 megapixel ISOCELL HM3 versus 64 megapixel IMX787. There is one difference you may all know. Nubia has used a 35mm lens for its main sensor, which has narrowed the field of view and it gives a different perspective. Nubia Z40 Pro main sensor photos are also a bit flat, and sometimes it has cranked up contrast way too higher than required. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra continued to process photos with stylistic color rendition and wider dynamic range. Nubia Z40 Pro has warmer white balance, while Samsung has decided to keep it cool. Considering the ambient light and surrounding, I would say Nubia Z40 Pro photos looks more realistic, and at the same time, if you are looking for photos to share on social media, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra would be a better choice. Both have grabbed enough detail, increased shadow without crushing the textures. However, if you compare highlights, brightness, dynamic range, sharpness and contrast, then altogether Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is way ahead. I know, a lot depends on personal preferences, and some people may like the photos grabbed by Z40 Pro for its almost true-to-life color rendition, but I must mention, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has more detail and far better exposure. Altogether, S22 Ultra is better. Well, there is a difference in hardware. Nubia Z40 Pro comes with a 5x periscope lens, and there is a 8 megapixel sensor sitting behind that lens. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has a 3x telephoto lens with a 10 megapixel sensor and a 10x periscope lens with another 10 megapixel sensor. After cropping in, do you see the differences? It's clearly visible that Z40 Pro has processed more detail with sharpness. Also, exposure seems a bit better. This is 10x zoom, native for S22 Ultra. As expected, Z40 Pro with a poor 8 megapixel sensor has struggled to keep up with S22 Ultra. Detail, shadow, textures, sharpness, white balance, color grading and dynamic range. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is better in every segment. Both have OIS. On paper, aperture of Nubia Z40 Pro periscope lens is way better. It's 3.4 versus S22 Ultra's 4.9. But in reality, Galaxy S22 Ultra has crushed Nubia Z40 Pro in almost all the 10x zoom photos. Once we change back to 3x zoom on S22 Ultra and 5x zoom on Z40 Pro, pictures taken with Z40 Pro looks better, with more detail and sharper textures, more shadow detail and better balance of brightness and contrast. Now let us check some night mode photos. First, we will check ultra-wide low-light photos and then main sensor low-light photos. Personally, I really don't like to take ultra-wide photos in low-light with budget devices, cause only super flagships comes with good ultra-wide sensor and only big brands offers good optimized low-light algorithm for their top-tier smartphones. Z40 Pro has actually done well, but that's a no match to Samsung's algorithm. S22 Ultra comes with one of the best noise removing algorithm. It intakes more light into the sensor thanks to its newly designed better lens. It has better stability and amazing exposure management. I didn't expect Z40 Pro to win, but I thought it would put up a fight. On paper, Sony IMX787 specification says it's a very capable sensor. It's not that bad, and it actually has performed like a flagship. It is very difficult to choose a winner cause both got their own strong points. I have my own method, we call it DENS. We use this to test low light photos. I believe most of my subscribers they like this method. Anyway, DENS stands for detail, exposure, noise and shadow. I am truly surprised by the performance of the Z40 Pro. Not many smartphones can go toe-to-toe with S22 Ultra, especially in low light. I have expected to see a huge difference in camera performance at night. I mean night mode photos. I thought S22 Ultra would win this battle by a mile. Occasionally S22 Ultra has done better than Z40 Pro, but Z40 Pro has performed better in most of the occasions. After checking a lot of night mode photos, I have noticed Z40 Pro has processed more detail with sharper textures, and most of the time exposure management is a bit better too. White balance is an issue cause it jumps back and forth. Yes, a lot depends on personal preferences. Most of the people they have their own personal preference, but after I have checked for factors that defines a good low light photo, I believe in this comparison Z40 Pro marginally wins the main sensor night mode battle, which is really amazing and surprising for me. I have a hard time to believe this, but this is the truth. What do you think? Which one is better? Make a comment and let me know.
Popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche.
Nubia Z40 Pro will get released in global market as ZTE Axon 40 Pro. I wish they will fix all the issues before they release it in global market, or else, even if they can manage to get some fluffy and decorated paid reviews, it will be very hard to sell this device. Nubia Z40 Pro has a mighty main sensor tagged to a 35mm lens, but due to poor stock camera algorithm, the outcome is way too worse than what I was expecting. If we punch in a bit, then you can easily notice the differences between these two photos. S22 Ultra rendered natural skin tone, almost true to life colors and better white balance. After we heavily crop in, S22 Ultra has more detail, textures are neither too sharp nor too soft, perfect contrast with correct exposure and better focus metering. S22 Ultra has just won this human photography segment by a big margin. Nubia Z40 Pro has performed like an upper mid-range, and its fancy 35mm lens, it seems like a gimmick. Check the hair color of the model, then check the background wall color. Check her face, do you see beautification? Finally, check her fingernails. While Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has picked every detail, processed shadow with clarity, Z40 Pro has just tried to beautify. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra can take portrait photos with both the main and the telephoto lens, but I prefer to take portrait photos with that 3x telephoto lens. Nubia Z40 Pro doesn't have any 2 or 3x telephoto lens, and as it comes with a 35mm lens, it actually doesn't need a telephoto lens to take portrait photos. Beside S22 Ultra's amazing portrait shots, Z40 Pro portrait shots looks a bit unexciting. Before you start judging, let us crop in. It's the same trend as of those human subject photos. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra with more detail, better color tone, better skin tone and sharper textures reproduced superb portrait photos, while Nubia Z40 Pro kept tottering. Subject isolation is way better on Galaxy S22 Ultra, while Nubia Z40 Pro is slightly more prone to occasional mishap. It has failed to perfectly blend the subject and the background in a few occasions. Z40 Pro has fair skin tone, flat color grading, heavy bokeh effect, which looks artificial. Moreover, Z40 Pro sometimes has added strong beauty effect, even if beauty effect was disabled. Considering edge detection, edge cutouts and separation between subject and background, it is easy. For portrait photography, I would go with S22 Ultra without a split of hesitation. It's the same old story. Samsung S22 Ultra offers the best selfie performance among almost all the Android smartphones. That's my personal opinion, and it is truly a tough task for any budget device without proper selfie sensor and proper optimization to compete with Samsung S22 Ultra in selfie or selfie portrait. I don't think I have to point out the differences as it's clearly visible. Even at a glance, you can see the differences. I will leave these to you. But if you are confused whether beauty mode was enabled or not, then no, all type of beauty mode was disabled on both of the devices. But it's true that in selfie portrait, Z40 Pro performed well and at least it has managed to put up some fight.
I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic.
As we all know, almost all these smartphones performs great in bright daylight and struggles in different low light environment. Let's check some indoor photos. As these are flagship smartphones, I think both will do good. I know it's difficult to say which one is better without knowing the correct color. Most of the time Z40 Pro has rendered true to life colors, but sometimes, not always, Z40 Pro has very warm tone which ruins the vibe of perfection. On the other hand, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra photos are almost true to life and better than many other flagships, but color curve of these two smartphones got their own unique algorithm. And depending on personal preferences, people may choose any of these two. But at a glance, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra looks much better. Cause it's not most of the time, it's all the time. S22 has produced photos with enormous detail, sharp textures, very good exposure, better shadow and true to life color grading. However, at the same time, I have to agree Nubia Z40 Pro got the potential. It requires a polished stock camera algorithm which I think ZTE will fail to deliver. Anyway, I have tried the Pro mode of Z40 Pro for a while, and after dialing a few options and trying a few different settings, I have managed to grab a few photos which comes close to S22 Ultra auto mode photos. Some people would like to know how is the performance of telephoto lens in indoor environment. The straight answer is great in their own segment. I'm truly a bit surprised by the performance of Z40 Pro 5x zoom photos. It's really good enough to beat many other smartphones which comes with a 5x periscope lens, but not that good to match S22 Ultra's 10x zoom performance. Especially if Z40 Pro is handheld, then it's very difficult to grab good 10x zoom indoor photos, but if you can get a tripod, then the result is much better. Before we check 8K performance, let's check 1080p 60 frames per second indoor video quality. In terms of detail, textures and sharpness, there is a noticeable difference. S22 Ultra has better exposure and wider dynamic range. Nubia Z40 Pro has weird warm color temperature and poor texture processing. Yeah, that's another issue. Check through these video clips and make a comment. Let me know what do you think. Which one has done better?
Cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent, I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it, I'll take a fat loss.
Surprised and frustrated. Check these 8K video clips. Nubia Z40 Pro has performed beyond my expectations. It has exceeded my expectations with amazing performance. I will let you watch through this video. I wish Samsung will address this and fix the issue through a software update. These videos are recorded in 4K 30 frames per second. Both of these two smartphones can record in 8K. But at night, I mean in low light, 8K performance of Z40 Pro is so poor. I had no other option, I had to go with 4K. Even in 4K, Z40 Pro has struggled. A lot more jitteriness, crazy white balance and saturation, a lot more noise, poor exposure, and altogether Z40 Pro has failed to put up any fight against Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra in low light videography. Time for verdict. But I think we have already got our verdict. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has won the battle as expected, but the reason behind this comparison isn't to find a winner. I did this to check how far Z40 Pro can go and how is its real-life performance. Nubia Z40 Pro has heavily failed beside Samsung S22 Ultra, but I think it will be able to compete with phones like Honor Magic 4 or Realme GT2 Pro. Cause Z40 Pro costs less than Realme GT2 Pro, iQOO 9, Xiaomi 12 Pro and Honor Magic 4. Do you want me to do another camera comparison of Nubia Z40 Pro? Please make a comment and let me know. With which other smartphone should I compare this Nubia Z40 Pro?